Welcome back to Redneck's Dirty Hands. I'm Pete, and today we're taking a little trip further back in time, 1985. I was 5 years old when that Safari was brand new, so shows my age, it shows it too, but that's a Safari 377. Needs a little bit of help, so we'll take a walk around this one and see if we can get her fixed up. Now, a good friend and customer of mine, Paul Richardson there, Pine Needle Farms in town here, he sent this fellow over, told him, he had an issue, obviously, but I told him that I'd be able to help him fix him up, and I think we can, no problem. But before we get right into this one, I just want to thank all you guys that are subscribing and watching the videos. The channel's taken off pretty good, we're getting lots of positive feedback and comments and stuff, and it makes the fella feel pretty good seeing that stuff, and want to thank you, we're going to try and keep her going. Got the part 3 coming for the ZRT. I got picked up a bottom end for that, so we'll get another video going to that. I got a 2010 Skidoo back there. I got the motor out. I got a video coming on that about an oil leak. And Scooters, Polaris is still in the shop here. We'll do a second part on that, get it up and going. But I just want to tell you guys, appreciate all the support and the positive comments. Makes a fella feel real good. So let's get going on this Safari here. I mean, I know she says Skidoo on her, but right now it's more of a Skidon't. Now, this poor fella seems to have a broken leg. I mean, if this was a horse, I'd probably just shoot it. But we know there's lots of life left in this old girl, She's a good one. Custom white seat on it, Don't see too many seats done in white, but whoever stitched this one up, it can't be factory, there's no way. I don't think they do that from the factory, but they did an awesome job stitching her up. Looks nice and comfy, so yeah, good job on the seat. The white seat, adds a bit of class. Kind of reminds me of like an old classic Buick or something. So she's a Safari 377. Oh, look at this, hold on. It is a 19, I don't know if you can read that. 1985. And the best thing about the 80s, I think we can all agree, is everything had pop-up headlights. And I think this one here, does it still work? Oh yeah, come on. There we go. Look at that. Now that's style right there. What's this thing got on her? 9,456. That'd be kilometers, not miles. But yeah, this thing's in great shape. I mean, it's got this porch extension on the back there. That's quite the bumper, but you might think that's for, a gas caddy. Hey, we're going on a long trip and need a shelf to put the jerry can on there for extra range, but any true Canadian knows, that dimension there is ingrained in our brains. We know what that's for. Right there, fits a 2.4 perfectly on there. Some fella engineered that on purpose. I mean, this is the original Canadian Uber Eats. That's your delivery service right there. When the snowstorm's too thick for your car, you take the Bumba beer. That's what that one's for. That's for the beer run right there. That is the official Beer Runners snowmobile. B-E-E-R-R-U-N, beer run. B-E-E-R-R-U-N, beer run. All we need's a couple 20s and a 5, or a sled and a key and a sober driver. B-E-E-R-R-U-N, beer run. That used to be my ringtone. I forget the fella that actually sings that, but that's exactly what that shelf is for. I don't care what anybody says. I know what that's what that fella made that for. I'm pretty sure, wintertime, guys with these rigs on their sleds, that's how Jingle Bells originally started, because your neighbors be ripping down in a snowstorm coming over to see you with a case of Wobble Pops, and all you'd hear, you could hear that jingling a mile away, Bob's on his way, here we go. Overall, though, she's in pretty decent shape. It's got a bit of a crack in the hood over here. Little chunk missing out of the pop-up light. Some fancy patch panels. Let's open this sucker up. Hopefully nothing breaks. Oh. Now we're talking. I mean, the newer Skidoo, like the 2010, you get the stupid little vinyl pouch for your tools. Look at this sucker here. Oh, that's like the A-Team lunchbox I used to have going to school. Oh, how'd that get in there? Now, that's a toolbox, man. You got, well, look, he's even got a backup pull cord there. Nice one. Some pliers. You can fit enough stuff in here to rebuild your whole snowmobile. Actual heavy-duty bracket for your spark plugs, too. That is, that was quality back in the day. That's when stuff was built to last. That's pretty cool. This hood hinge doesn't seem to be, oh yeah, that's got your home hardware, whatever bracket holding that together. Oh, it looks like he's already spent a little bit of love on this. He's got some new fuel lines and filters, and everything's freshened up there. It's got the gas tank strapping holding the muffler. Get that stuff from Crappy Tire there. That I remember using that back in the day to hold the gas tanks up on the old Iraqi taxis, the old Malibus. So apparently, main issue why he brought it over is this steering spindle. Looks like somebody had already tried repairing it once. They got a couple of tack welds on the top of the post. I guess he grabbed her by hand, went to move it around, and that broke and ripped off, and then the ski fell off or whatever. I don't know. So, I've got a fancy machine that has a spool of wire in there that you add electricity to it. It makes a bolt out of anything. You can stick whatever you want together. The old Millermatic welder. So I don't think we'll have too much of a problem sticking that bag up in there, getting the steering all hooked up. We'll weld that bracket all up. This thing should be good to go again. Ooh, I don't know if you can see that, but that carb boot there, that's got more cracks in it than a plumber's convention, and that is no good, A crack in the boot back here before the carburetor, not a big deal. It's sucking a little bit of dirt, but I mean, it's wintertime. How much dirt's really floating around in the air? A crack in the boot between the carburetor and the engine equals Chernobyl meltdown. Yeah, system failure. No good. Yeah, we might have to see if we can track down. Royal Distributing is usually pretty good selling remanufactured or, from wherever, rhymes with Wina. Carb boots and stuff. Cracked carb boots are no good, man. Those cracks there, when they start, if you're ripping across the field and they start sucking air in there, you hear that country classic from Dolly Parton start playing. Go lean, go lean, go lean, go lean. My engine used to run, but now she's seized. Yeah, I know. Don't quit my day job. I ain't no singer. That's the last one, I promise. I'll see if I can track him down a new rubber boot there, but in the meantime, I think I'll pop her off and I'll give her a good coating with the Tuber Right stuff there. That stuff is named the right stuff for a reason. It is good stuff. It goes just like rubber. I've used it quite a few times on those boots, so until, I don't know how long it'll take to get a rubber boot from Royal Distributing, if I can get one. So in the meantime, this will be a good little patch-up job for that. And that way guarantees no frowny faces, so that don't blow up and seize. 2022 Royal Distributing catalog. Intake carb boot section. Here we go. What do we got? Safari 377, 84 to 87. They do show a part number. Looks like it's the same part number for all the way up to 92. Problem is, this is the weekend. I called the mail order. They're closed, so, Royal Distributing used to have the pricing in their catalog for everything. And then, like, last year or the year before, they stopped doing it. That was a good thing, man. Like, we loved that. You could open up the book, it had the price right there. Now we got a phone just to find out. I mean, come on. That was the handiest thing. Bring it back, man. We want the pricing back in the catalog. All right, well, we'll pull the boot off first. That way we can get that right stuffed up, and while we're doing, fixing the ski and spindle, all that, that'll have time to dry. I like how it's got flathead, regular gear clamp, and then Phillips, flat screwdriver Phillips. That's why that toolbox is so big. You gotta have all the screwdrivers you own with you as you're rolling. All right, all the clamps are loose. Just should be able to just wiggle that sideways, pull that sucker right off of there. Nice one. Leave the carburetor hanging. With the clamps off of there, you can see how cracked that is. That is recipe for disaster right there. Permatex, right stuff. It is the right stuff. I mean, this stuff is phenomenal. It's a little bit pricey. I mean, I think this little tube is almost 30 bucks Canadian or something like that. The bigger tubes are 50 something bucks. But you know, you keep this little top on there, that way she's always ready to go. Just gonna put a good generous coat all the way around here, and then we'll smooth it all out. It'll act like a thin layer, you know, fill in those cracks. That way this rubber will survive another, you know, 30 something years. There you go. She's all gooped up, filled in all the cracks. We'll let that dry. That thing will be good to go. All right, well, I mean, somebody else had already, you know, welded on to the top of that, and then when it broke, it took a good old chunk out of the top. So I just ground this down. I mean, you know, this thing, I don't think we're doing a showroom restoration on her. We're not going to be rolling her through Barrett Jackson's auction. So I think just jamming that back in there will position the ski, make sure it's straight, get that situated where it needs to be, and we'll just pour the lightning to that and melt that welder on good and solid. I mean, the only way he's ever going to have to take that back out of there is if he wraps her around a telephone pole or hits a moose or something like that. I mean, that's a solid steel ski, solid, you know, steel belly pan. I don't think he's ever going to have to take it off, so I think he'll be good with that. Guess I might as well pop the muffler out of the way, make it easier to access that bracket for the steering once I put that ski back up and through there. So, a couple of springs. Almost punched myself in the face there. Not sure what the deal is with the air hose coming off, like the fan's blowing air into there and like cooling your exhaust. I don't know what the deal is with that. Those guys over at Bombardier, like there's literally plastic clamps on a hot exhaust. I don't know. Who would have thought? Yeah, for there. Okay, muffler, delete. Okay, well, I put the spindle back up through the hole there, and I think all I'm gonna do is I'll put his steering rods back into this bracket, bolt them down, and then I'll make sure the skis are straight, the handlebars are straight. Then I'll just grab my hammer, smack that sucker down on there where she needs to be. We'll hit her with the welder, and that should be tickety-boo. We don't really need that, do we? There we go. Just like so. Now we'll just crank them on. It's tight. Okay. So, that's tight. Skis and steering bar. Let's straighten that stuff out. Alright, time to smash her home. Oh yeah, baby. That's right. Oh yeah. That sounds like she made her home. Oh yeah. Just pour the weld to that. Okay, we're gonna weld her on. I know earlier I said I had a Miller-Matic, but that one's over at JP's house right now. So for this one here, I'm gonna be using my Lincoln, the MP210. That sucker here is handier than a pocket on a shirt. If you are going to be purchasing a welder to do odds and ends, this unit right here, it's dual voltage input. You could do, you know, it's, what is it, 110 or 220 or whatever, but this thing here, I mean, it tells you right on it. You just dial your thickness that you want. You click your button, yes sir, and it sets it. So as long as you got your gas bottle hooked up, you know, you're good to go. You can still adjust your wire speed and heat and voltage, all that stuff. Fine tune it if you want, but it sets you right in the ballpark. It's a handy investment, you know. I use it all the time. So just clamp the ground to the spindle there, and then I usually keep an old shop coat or something, you know, a rag, drape it over top of, you know, the fuel lines or whatever. We don't really need a piece of splatter landing on something burning the freaking shop down. So come on. Hot stuff. Gotta love the smell of burning grease, baby. Very good. We should have steering now. Oh, still smoking away. But she's a good solid weld on there. Good coverage. And ski's hooked up. And she turns. Gotta like it. I really saw that when I was welding that, but yeah, whoever put the motor in this must have worked at the Maytag factory, because look at the washers on there. Holy geez. Looking like we're about ready to go on safari, man. Got the exhaust back on, steering is straight-ish, and the carburetor boots all gooped up back together. Should be good to go. Alright, well, this sweetheart's all back together, so I think maybe the only thing left to do is give her a little test drive just to make sure the steering's okay. Supposedly it should run fine. He didn't say anything about it not running right. So, you know, these old girls, or at least this one here, doesn't have a choke. It's got a little primer plunger there, so they're a little bit finicky, you know. Sometimes you get too rammy with that pumper too many times, you might as well just get on the arc with Noah, because she's flooded. So let's see, we'll give her a couple of pumps. My rule is 3 usually, but let's see what happens. Well, she's a runner, and I mean, hey, that 3-pump rule is a good rule to follow. I mean, I think that's I'm pretty sure that's why my girlfriend calls me 3-pump Pete. Maybe that's why us guys love snowmobiles, you know. They're kind of like women. You gotta pull them, you gotta pump them, you gotta squeeze them, and you just hold on and enjoy the ride. I think all that's left is to strap the old GoPro on, take this thing for a lap around the property, make sure she makes it around, make sure the steering's good, and then phone this buddy up and say, come get her.
Should have on the side just doo-doo.
She does not like deep snow.
All right, well, made it successfully around the property. It made it further than the ZRT did, so it can't be all that bad. It's not a huge fan of the deep snow, but it's an old machine, neither am I, so it did better than I would trekking back there, and so I think it's good to go for Buddy. He should get some enjoyment out of it. Well, as always, thanks for tuning in and watching this episode here. You know, we really appreciate it. The channel's getting a little bit of a boost the last month. You know, we went from 500 subscribers to almost 2,500 now. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. We love the comments that are coming in. You know, there's good and bad comments out there. I'm sure I'm going to get roasted on this one for singing, but hey, you know, we're fixing old sleds for some locals, getting them back out on the trail and having a good time doing it. So, you know, I can laugh at myself. I really, it is what it is. But as always, you know, if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. It helps us out. You know, hit the like button, turn the notification bell on, all that jazz. And as always, take her easy.